What does that mean? Constancy. That whether I'm having a good day or a bad day, I'm going to come in here and you're going to hear a quality message. Whether there's 3 people in here or 30 people in here, you're still going to hear a quality message. That's constancy.
Yeah.
That's what you have a right to expect. Because when I get up here, it better not be about me.
Right.
It better be the Holy Spirit working through me to give you what you need. Constancy. Endurance. Let patience have her perfect work. The perfect work is the development of your faith. And that comes by the trials. Do you really believe that God's providing for you? Even though you might only be working part-time, you might be waiting for the next call. You don't know if you can make your bills at the end of the month. You don't know what you're going to do next month. You got some big bills coming. You don't know what you're going to do. You know what you're going to do? You're going to trust God. That's what you're going to do. You're going to do your best, and you're going to trust God. That's endurance, and that's constancy. Because when things are good, you're trusting Jesus, and when things are bad, you're trusting Jesus.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because when you're trusting Jesus, it's got nothing to do with your circumstances, so what you see doesn't matter.
Amen.
That's the patience we're talking about. People say, oh, I just got to wait, I just got to wait, I just got to wait. No, that's not patience. That is not patience. That's impatience. That's not going to do you any good. 5 minutes. 10 minutes. 50 minutes. How long is it going to take? It's going to take as long as it needs to. That's how long it's going to take. Let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. He's not talking about you being perfect as in a physical context. He's not talking about your situations being perfect. He is talking about you being perfect in the Holy Spirit and entire spiritually and emotionally, and wanting or needing essentially nothing.
Amen.
Okay. That is, you are completely mobile because God gives you everything you need whenever you need it, and not worrying about, well, you know, I'm going to serve God next week when I get X. No, you can serve God today. In the midst of your needs, whatever you don't have, it doesn't matter. You give yourself to Him, and He can use you. But I'm tired. So what? But I'm dirty. So what? But I feel nasty. So what? He can use you wherever you are under any circumstance. You know, He doesn't have any problem. He'll take you where you are, as is where is. Just like a used car.
Yeah.
We're all used cars. He'll take you whatever way. You get whatever circumstance, situation. No problem. Come on down. He'll take care of you. Now, this is at the beginning of James. We're going to move to the back of the book of James now. Chapter 5. And we go down to verse 7. It says, be patient, therefore. Amazing. He starts the book with patience, and he ends the book with patience. Amazing. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Wow. Am I going to be around? Well, you know what? If nothing else, He's coming to get you. If you're not waiting when He comes, well, He'll be waiting when you come. Okay? So, you don't have to worry about timing here. You see, He's got that down, okay? Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Right until you die, be patient. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth. This is so beautiful. This is Jesus Christ. Waits for the precious fruit of the earth. He's talking about the harvest of souls. And hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and the latter rain. You know, we sweat waiting, you know, days, weeks, months, years, maybe decades. He's been doing this for like 6,000 years. You want to talk about patience? 2,000 years since He died on the cross, He's still waiting? No, that's patience.
Yeah.
And we sweat a few days, weeks, years. Like, what's the deal? And had long patience for it until he received the early and the latter rain, the double portion. He's waiting to get all the goodies. He's prepared to wait to get it all. Are you prepared to wait to get it all? That's the question. Be ye also patient. Establish your hearts. Okay, establish your hearts is real simple. What do you want? Don't be whining. Don't be complaining. Decide what you want and get with the program. He's saying, grow up. Just what you want. If you don't want God, then fine. Just make up your mind and do it. Remember what he said about being lukewarm. He says, I'll spew you out of my mouth. Be hot or be cold. Hot or cold, that's all right. Just make up your mind what you want. Be patient. Establish your hearts. For the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. And he says, verse 10, take, my brethren, the prophets, who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering affliction and of patience. I love that. You know, I think of the major prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel. I mean, they had a miserable existence. I mean, that's the only way you can describe it. It was a miserable existence. You know, they fasted way on end on end. They had to walk naked, a couple of them, for years at a time. And Jeremiah was particularly nasty. He was called when he was young. He was miserable. He says, I don't owe anybody, and nobody owes me, and yet everybody hates me. I'm miserable. He said, just take my life. He says to God, just take my life. It's awful. Everybody hates me. He was speaking the word of the Lord. He said, everybody hates me. He's miserable. God said, no, and he was young, and he said, God, don't get married. You can't get married. Because there's such evil times coming. He says, you'd be happy that you didn't get married. And so he's warning the king, and the king doesn't listen, and they all go into captivity. And then he tells the guy, okay, I want you to write down what's going to happen in Babylon. When you get there, here's a whole book. I want you to tell the Babylonians what's going to happen. And then throw what I got you to write down. Throw it all in the river.
Wow.
It's like, so all this work. The king of Babylon thinks he's on his side. He takes good care of him. He said, yeah, but now tell him what's going to happen to him. And then throw it all in the river, all the work. It wasn't about posterity. He had no children. And then he gets carried away as a captive into Egypt. A miserable life. A miserable life. But for him, it wasn't about what he had. It wasn't about who listened to him or didn't listen to him. It was about his relationship with God, about his faith. His faith is what kept him strong, because he was determined to serve God. Now, what really ties it all together is actually, you don't have to turn there, it's Revelation chapter 13 and verse 10. So let's here, he that leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Now, how does that tie in? This goes right back to what Jesus said. What you sow is what you reap. This is important, because what you do in evil comes back on you. What you do in righteousness comes back in you. Back at you. This is faith. Knowing the principle of reaping and sowing. Not just knowing it in your head, but you know it in your spirit. You know that what you do is going to come back to you, whether it's good or it's evil. You can try to talk yourself into it being good when it is evil, but the fact is, you know when it's evil, and he's saying you know that it's going to come back. So you're not going to try to talk yourself out of it, or talk yourself into doing something evil when you know you're trying to make it look good. No excuses. You understand the principle, and you live by the principle because you know that it's true. Now, how do you know that? Patience. Application. You've seen it applied in your life. You've seen it applied in the lives of everyone else. This is the patience and the faith of the saints. The faith is strong because the patience is there. The patience is there because you've applied the discipline to believe